Good.
Okay.
We are great. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for asking. I was telling my, this morning at the office, I was saying, and I was telling my daughter who's home from school, I said, I miss our pre-COVID times, as I know we all do, because I would have so enjoyed going to a lunch, sitting down, talking to people, actually, you know, I enjoy those types of things. So anyway, we will get through this, right? It is what it is. So
That's
anyway,
right.
yeah. Can I share my screen or let me know when I'm on?
The meeting will start about 12:15. We'll go through some announcements and some general information, and then I will ask Jane to introduce you. And at that point, you'll be on.
Okay.
Okay?
And I would be able to share my screen, Jane?
Yes,
I'll
you
make-
should be able to.
I'm gonna make you co-host. I'm running the show here.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, I know you.
Good to see you. Yes, good to see you. Thanks for being on.
No problem. Good to see you.
Great.
So,
All right. Thank you, Greg.
Yep. So just accept the co-host that I just sent you. Okay.
I will. Let me.
And then you'll be able to share from the bottom, the button down below. That's the green button. When it's time to share.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Greg, for future reference, then we need to let you know if a speaker has a presentation so that you can make them a co-host. That's how they'll share their screen,
Correct. Or anybody that's running the meeting. You
or
just
anybody
say-
that's running.
Yeah,
You or Mary
just
Jo.
go to
Okay.
you just go to the three little dots and then just make a co-host, and that way they can share whatever they want.
Perfect.
If you've got a few minutes of business, I'm actually going to go fill up my tea and be right back. All
Sure.
right? Okay.
Dawn, when do you think we're going to start having meetings again in person?
I do not know. I think it will be a while. I have not heard from Wendy at Old Town Banquet. I don't know if they are up and running or not. I would guess at least through March, we will still be on Zoom.
Mr. Richards, what are they saying from the Indiana Chambers of Commerce and such? As far as getting back to normal, whatever this normal is.
It's a real mixed review. The smaller chambers have basically closed their offices and they're working remotely. The larger chambers are manning their offices like us. You know, we have at least 3 people in our office every day, and we're still carrying on business, but it's all across the board.
Well, let's hope it's soon. So, anyway.
I know we're planning to start opening up our face-to-face meetings in April.
Okay,
So, you know, you've got to start sometime. So
Right.
we're gonna throw it out there and see what kind of response we can get. I'm sure there will be people that will choose, you know, not to come, but there's also people that are wanting to start to gather. And with the vaccines taking hold, just like last fall, we noticed there was a drop in attendance, but there was still a lot of people that wanted to attend. So we'll just see. We'll
You know,
probably do things so they can do both remotely and in person.
we've been, I say this all the time, but our business has been, as I said, inconvenienced at times, but we've really have, ever since last May, the end of May, when the governor opened things up somewhat, we've actually been in person with the option of if anybody wants to work at home, or if somebody, you know, thankfully no one's been sick, but pretty much all of our meetings still have been in person. We give the client the option, and they have all pretty much wanted to be in person. So we've done that. We have a nice conference room that we can all sit at opposite ends of the tables and such. But I think in general, businesses want to just get back and up and running as fast as they can. So anyway.
I serve on a hospital board, and I know from the hospital information, the number of deaths are down significantly. The number of people in the hospital with COVID is down significantly. So those are all good trends.
Absolutely, yep. So anyway.
all right. Well, it is 12:15. Good afternoon, Rotarians. Welcome to the February 22nd, 2021 Valparaiso Rotary Club meeting, where we grow diverse leaders for local service and global impact through meaningful and dynamic connections. Our Rotary fact for today continues to circle around our World Understanding Month, which is the month of February for Rotary. Rotary's 4 roles in promoting peace. Rotary and its members are practitioners. Our work fighting disease, providing clean water and sanitation, improving the health of mothers and children, supporting education, and growing local economies directly builds the optimal conditions for peaceful societies. Educators. Our Rotary Peace Centers have trained over 1,300 peace fellows to become effective catalysts for peace through careers in government, education, and international organizations. Mediators. Our members have negotiated humanitarian ceasefires in areas of conflict to allow polio vaccinators to reach children who are at risk. Advocates. Our members have an integral role as respected, impartial participants during peace processes and in post-conflict reconstruction. We focus on creating communities and convening groups that are connected, inclusive, and resilient. I would like to thank Greg Farrell and Mary Jo Jamie with the opportunity of bringing us together by Zoom today. Now, if you could all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I will turn it over to Doug Busby, who has our invocation or special thoughts for today. Doug?
Yes, as we come to the end of February and think about what is going on in the world, which also is our polio month, we think particularly to the remaining problem of polio in the Taliban occupied areas of northern Pakistan and of course in Afghanistan. put on my ministerial cap today and lead you in a prayer. Let us pray. Gracious Creator, we ask that what we learn and experience through our membership and participation in Rotary will empower each of us to serve others in need within and beyond our community. As we continue to support the eradication of polio from this world, we ask for your support and protection as we vaccinate the children in the Taliban-held areas in Pakistan and Afghanistan. May we always be best able to identify and accomplish service above self, both individually and together in Rotary. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. Do we have any Rotarians out there that have guests today or any
Still not
visiting
in the meeting.
Rotarians? I have one guest I would like to introduce on behalf of Silva Devarge. She was not able to join us, but she has invited Barb Bakos to join us. Welcome, Barb. Barb is the owner and president of Power Source Transportation, and we look forward to inviting her to additional meetings and eventually into the club. So welcome. All right. Annetta Jones, Sergeant at Arms.
Well, good morning, everyone. Do we have any good news out there in Zoom land? Just go ahead and unmute yourself and share your good news. Bill, go ahead and unmute yourself and share your good news.
Thank you. I was watching the news this morning and I said, I know that young woman. She was on that 777, the Boeing 777 that had an engine breakup. And so I texted her and she texted me right back and said, they're all right, except for a little bit of a lot of terror. But that they're going to run a segment of that on the Channel 7 at 4 o'clock today. So you might want to tune in. Her name was Barbara Underwood.
Wow. Wow, you don't expect to see someone you know going through a harrowing experience on television, but whoa. I'm sure she was glad to hear from you, Bill. Any other good news? Well, I guess it's good news that none of us were on that plane. That's good news. Okay, well, listen, I'll just go ahead with a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Most of you, maybe some of you know that I grew up on the banks of the Ohio River. Now, listen, I was on the Indiana side. I know I don't sound like it, but I came from the Indiana side. And one thing, you know, I went from Tell City, Indiana to Purdue University. So that was really a traveling north for me. And one thing that became very obvious to me was that people don't speak the same. They don't have the same frame of reference up north as they do down south. So today I just wanted to share with you a few bits of wisdom and wit that we used to use in southern Indiana. And let's see if you recognize any of them. So for example, if you lay down with the dogs, you'll get up with fleas. That's probably one that you've heard before, right? So here's a few that maybe you may not be familiar with. When you're talking about someone who doesn't take any action, you might say, you'll never plow a field by turning it over in your mind. If your life took a turn for the worse, you might say, one day you're the peacock, the next day you're the feather duster. Or if you have run out of money, you might say, I'm so poor, I had to fry up my nest egg. If you think that someone's not very smart, you might say his cheese slid off the cracker. Or maybe if things are going really well, You might say, if times get any better, I might have to hire someone to help me enjoy them. Maybe one of these sayings is appropriate that you might be able to use and stump some of your friends and neighbors. But if you need any more, just give me a call. I've got a few. So anyway, that's it for me.
Thank you, Annetta. Those were fun. All right, a few announcements before we turn it over to our program. One, again, the membership challenge. Remember that we can invite people as easily through our Zoom land as we can in person. So feel free to invite someone to join our meeting on Mondays. Deb Good is still looking for someone to be the liaison between Rotary and our Boy Scout Troop 995. So if you were ever involved in Boy Scouts in any way, please feel free to reach out to her and help her sponsor that troop. And then again, just to make sure everyone knows, the library garden ribbon cutting is set for May 12th at 5:30. All right, I will now turn it over to Jane, who will introduce our speaker for today. Jane?
Thank you, everybody. We're very excited to welcome Dominica Hartman, who is a registered U.S. patent attorney and managing partner for Hartman Global IP Law. The law firm she and her husband, also a patent attorney, founded in 1990. After earning her Purdue engineering degree, she then went north and graduated from the University of Michigan with her law degree. The firm recently celebrated its 30th anniversary and prides itself on serving the client's intellectual property needs both in the U.S. and abroad. In particular, she assists clients, both big and small, with their foreign patent and trademark matters. As a faith-driven woman, she is active in her parish ministries. She has volunteered at the Catholic schools for her 6 children in various capacities, ranging from the school board member to lunchroom mom, through the grade school, high school, and university levels. She was a 15-year Girl Scout leader and found great satisfaction in helping empower young, strong women. She believes the more you receive, the more you must give back. She loves Northwest Indiana and the diversity in the people, geography, and the communities, and enjoys making a difference in someone's life. Thank you, everybody. Welcome, Dominica.
All right. Well, hello. Thank you, Rotarians, for inviting me. I will say, as I said earlier, I prefer being in person and everything else, but Zoom land for now. We'll keep it going. I'm wondering, Greg, if I can share my screen. If not, I'm just gonna kind of launch into this. I bet I can't.
Just the green arrow at the bottom.
Oh, there it is. The green arrow on the bottom. And do I do multiple participants can share simultaneously?
Just hit the arrow.
Hit the arrow. Okay. There. Let me go like this.
There you go.
And that should do this. Oh, I bet I will have. Okay, good. Can you see it? I assume? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Stop me. Anybody stop me at any time, because when I get talking about this, I can really go. So if you've got questions, let me know. But the three, we again, as the introduction said, we handle all aspects of intellectual property exclusively. That's all we've ever done. And intellectual property covers the ideas, okay, and the manifestation of those ideas. All right. The 3 main pillars of intellectual property are patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Patents protect the functional application of that idea, just as it's written here. So think of the device, the process, the system, okay? The new material. So it's the actual tangible manifestation of that idea. Trademarks protect those brands. How do you get your product out to the public, and how does the public recognize your brand, okay? And I will say, of the 3 pillars of intellectual property, trademarks in the last probably 5-10 years has just exponentially increased, okay? And I'll kind of get to that in a second, or in a few minutes. Copyrights, they protect the creative expression of your ideas. So any work of creativity, whether it's a song, a book, a custom piece of jewelry, the new, a rendition of Mona Lisa, okay, that type of thing. So patents, it's the functional aspect. Trademarks, it's how you present it to the world, the branding, and copyrights, that creative expression. Okay, so patents are the biggest pillar of the 3 pillars. Patents tend to be the biggest pillar, and they tend to be the form that gives you that broadest protection. Okay, so with regards to patents, we have utility patents, which cover the utility of the device or the process. We have design patents, which cover the functional design of a product. Corvette comes out with a new body style, okay? They want protection so that nobody can copy that body style. That's where design patents come in. Believe it or not, one of the most prolific areas of design patents is with regards to your water bottles, or your, the thermoses, the Yetis, things like that. How do you place those finger holds so they're ergonomically, but yet designed, they're aesthetically design pleasing, that type of thing. And then we've got plant patents, which is just a real small slice of patents, but it's those hybridizations, those hybrid plants out there so that you get better yield, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With regards to, and I was going to say utility patents, they are, again, the bulk of your patents out there. I'm going to scooch right here. I'm going to put a couple of patents, a company that I think I saw Patrick out on the list of people out there. Urshel, or the lot of functionality out there, as you can imagine. This is an example of one of their earliest patents, or one of the earlier patents, of just that food cutting machine. Okay, how do we, they come up with a new blade design. They come up with a new way to feed the food into the machine. How does it get chopped so beautifully, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what a utility patent is going to look like. We're going to have to describe all those components and everything else. Whoops, let me scooch. With regards, I'm going to go back to, in fact, let me go back to this. With regards to the utility patent, okay, and I say the utility patent because when somebody says I've got a patent, 9 times out of 10, what they're referring to is this utility type of patent. It covers the utility of a device, okay? What's meant by the utility of a device? I'm going to give a very simple example, and somebody stop me if you have questions, but 10,000 years ago, if you are the first cave person to say, I don't want to eat on the ground, and you take a boulder and you take a slab of granite and you put that granite on top of the boulder, you now have created the first table. So what is the utility of the table? The utility is merely a horizontal surface supported by something, okay? So a well-drafted, broad utility patent would say, I, John Doe, or I, Jane Doe, claim as my invention just a horizontal surface supported by some means, okay? So that's the utility of a table. And I say that because you want that broad coverage. So now if, as I'm looking at the attendance here, Jane or Diane or Larry comes up with, let's say, a table that's not made of a granite, and maybe it's not sitting on a single boulder, but rather it's got 4 legs and it's made of wood, but it's still a table. You want to make sure that patent covers the utility of that device, that broad protection. If it's written very broadly and rather it says, I, Jane Doe, claim merely this granite surface supported by a boulder, you can see that now anyone who comes up with a wood table or 4-legged table, they are outside the scope of your utility patent and they don't have to pay your royalties. So what's the benefit of this utility patent is it gives you this exclusivity to this utility, to this idea, to this manifestation of the idea. When you get that utility patent, after it's gone through this rigorous examination process, you now, as the owner, have the right to exclude others from making, using, selling your invention. Okay, so that's where those fees come in, the royalties, the licensing fees, etc. So you can see how it's a lucrative, it's how beneficial it is. The two main hurdles in order to get a patent is, one, the idea has to be new. We use the term novel. You hear of the novel coronavirus. That just means it's new. So one, it has to be new. And two, and that's usually black or white, but two, the idea, the manifestation of this idea cannot be an obvious improvement over the state of the art. So it's got to be new, but it cannot be obvious. That's the one that's the shades of gray. So you can see where we spend a lot of time arguing whether something is obvious or not. But again, you end up with this patent and you now have this exclusivity to the invention, and now you can charge royalties, you can go after licensing, you can assign your rights, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very beneficial, obviously it's beneficial. Design patents, this is again, whoops, this again is Urschel. And this is actually a potato chip design. And believe it or not, all those, the big V, the little V, all those ridges in the potato chips, those are all things that can be covered by design patents. Again, we've got to be new, cannot be obvious in view of the prior art, in view of the state of the art. But again, this is what a design patents are good for 15 years. So you have an exclusivity to that design. Just to show you a couple of others, these are these design patents. For everyone's got one of these in their purse or their pocket, but design patents cover all those little nuances with regard to your iPhones and such. We've got another, I don't know if Omnitech's a Rotarian, but a local company. Again, this is the utility. These are surgical instruments, and just with regard, they're the patents, which they've come up just some incredible designs and the utility of these devices that are used for the surgery. But again, they had to meet that criteria of being new and not obvious improvements. Once we file the patent application at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we can mark everything patent pending. So you'll often see products that, or you see something that's marked or labeled as patent pending. That puts the world on notice that the owner of that device or that method or whatever it is, that they've got a patent application pending at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. That becomes very important if there's later infringement by that company or by that potential infringer, because once we put them on notice of a patent application, if they continue infringement, we can actually go back to that date of notice and get triple the damages. You will see, that, once the patent application has gone through the examination process and we end up with that patent, we've got the owner of the patent has a duty to mark his item, his device, his process, whatever it is that's invented, with the patent number. So again, the owner of the patent needs to put the world on notice that this is actually an invention that has exclusivity, et cetera, et cetera. And if he doesn't, then he may lose some of his patent rights, his validity and such. So questions on patents, anybody? I'm gonna breeze through these and I'll get questions at the end too. Trademarks. I cannot stress enough how important trademarks have become in the last probably 5 or 10 years. Truly, since the advent of smartphones, when we went to click here, swipe there, every app has its own icon. I joke, but only half jokingly, that in 50 years, we're going to be reading hieroglyphics again. No longer do people read words. Okay. Probably one of the biggest examples of that is about 5 years ago, Amazon said it used to be that Amazon would advertise Amazon Prime and then have the smile, that arrow smile logo. And about 5 years ago, Amazon said, we're going to get rid of words and we're going to phase out the words and go right, just market and brand with the smile. And by golly, they have. I mean, if you see a box on someone's lawn or you see a truck going by and it's got that smile, you know it's from Amazon. Starbucks, same thing. Nowhere on their cup of coffee does it say Starbucks. It's just that mermaid on the cup of coffee. So again, trademarks, since the advent of just smartphones, and again, click here, swipe there, the number of trademark applications and trademark registrations at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has just increased exponentially. It used to be that, and let me step back a second, we can protect both word trademarks, so think of Nike, Nike, as well as what's called design marks or logos, think of the Nike swoosh. It used to be up until these last several years that the number of word marks and the number of design marks were about even at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Just again, in the last 5-7 years, the number of design marks or logos has just exponentially increased, just skyrocketed. I cannot stress the importance of trademarks, just as particularly in these last several years. Some trademarks you can look at, service mark. Okay, the trademarks, they're all typically clumped under that trademark umbrella, but service marks are those trademarks that are in association with a service, Family Express, Uber, that type of thing. Whereas, generally, or I should say more specifically, trademarks versus service marks are those marks that are associated with goods, okay, actual goods. Again, here's some examples too: Amazon.com, Uber, the Target, the swoosh, the star, the mermaid. Cannot stress enough how important getting, clients come in, and my word of recommendation, anybody out there in the audience is, if you're looking to brand, if you're trying to promote a new product, or you want to kind of dazzle up your marketing and just try to up your the recognition of your trademark, get rid of the words and just come up with a really nice, simple design mark, and then plaster it everywhere. There's no requirement that with trademarks, that they can only be used in a certain area or certain what do I want to say, location. They can be used everywhere. So if you've got your website, if you've got your product, put that logo everywhere, that design mark everywhere. Think of too, and again, I'm saying this because I cannot stress enough, but once you hone in on a trademark, use it everywhere. Again, website, your product. If it's going to be what people click on their phone, keep it simple. But again, use it everywhere. You'll sometimes see let me scoot this up a second. You'll sometimes see the R with the circle, okay? And sometimes you'll see a TM. The R with the circle says that this trademark is federally registered. So it's gone through that examination process. You now have coverage across the US. So if you're coming up with a new trademark and somebody in Timbuktu, Montana is using something confusingly similar, quote unquote, you can stop them if you've got federal registration. On the other hand, you will sometimes see the TM. The TM says to the world, this trademark, whatever it is, has not been federally registered. It doesn't have federal protection. maybe it's in the process of getting federal registration. Maybe you only use it in a very small localized area, Northwest Indiana, or maybe you're conserving resources and just don't have the money yet to file for trademark protection. But that TM then says that the trademark only has protection in the geographic area it's used. So if I did start to use, if somebody did start to use a similar trademark in Timbuktu, Montana, I may not be able to stop them. They may actually, depending on their growth, they may actually be able to hem you into your use. So federal trademarks, very important to get. Trade dress, another form of trademark protection, believe it or not. You know, this is the Apple Store, this is Panera. They actually have federal registrations on what is called trade dress, that look and feel of their store. So nobody else, they've got the exclusive right to go in and use this type, have this type of look and feel. Okay, you will see trade dress being used often too for uniforms. Okay, everybody's got to wear that same uniform. That will be protectable under trade dress. So long as the biggest obstacle with regard to trademarks is it going to be confusingly similar to an existing trademark? If so, you can't use it. Okay. The more distinctive the mark, the broader the scope of protection. So again, going back to these, you know, what did Starbucks have to do with a cup of coffee? You know, what did Amazon have to do with, you know, books originally, or a delivery service? That type of thing. So the more distinctive the trademark, the broader the scope of protection you're going to have. The person who created the mark Uber, I think they deserve their own Caribbean island. You know, what is an Uber and what does it have to do with a glorified taxi company? You know, and yet half the world has their app on their phone. So that's the type of mark you're looking at, and that you're going to get that broadest scope of protection. On the other end of the spectrum, if your mark is merely descriptive of what you're selling, you're not going to get any protection. So if you're selling hot coffee under the trademark hot coffee, you're not going to get any protection to it. Let's see, moving on, and trademarks, trade dress, we went through that. Again, this gets into it. How long do I get to speak to before questions? Do I have till 1 o'clock or no?
Let's say till 12:55, then I would give 5 minutes for questions.
Perfect. Okay. I was going to say that again, you know, this talks about the idea if you're using just the TM, okay, you haven't gone through federal protection. You can get federal protection under not only the trademark laws if you've registered, but if not, the Lanham Act it was written in the 40s and basically says if anybody's trying to palm off your goodwill, if somebody else is trying to pose as you, or pose as or presenting their goods or services as again trying to palm off your goodwill, you can go after them regardless of whether you've got a federal trademark or not. State, again, that's that TM, that's going to give you protection in the geographic area of use only. Again, this is that R with circle, TM, SM. Questions, copy or trademarks before I move on? Copyrights, yes, copyrights protect any kind of work of creativity. This can be books, this can be music, this can be probably what I see a lot of is computer code, okay, apps, all right. It can be something that is, you know, a Michael Jackson song that is got zillions of broadcast, quote unquote, publications, or alternatively, it can be a single piece of custom jewelry. Okay, so any work of creativity is protectable under copyright. Copyright gives you a very long period of protection. It's based on your life plus 70 years. So there's a long period of protection, but it is very narrow in that it covers your rendition of that work, okay? So if you know, I created Gone with the Breeze. Okay, instead of Gone with the Wind, Gone with the Breeze. And, you know, they were in Alabama, not Georgia or whatever. I can get away with that type of thing. Okay, unless you're copying your copying is absolutely on point with the work that is protected under copyright. You know, you've got a lot of leeway under copyright laws to create your own work of creativity. Having said that, about, what was it, probably about 10 years ago or so, our federal copyright laws were amended. About 10 years ago, when you know, everything became uploadable, downloadable, sharing files, et cetera, et cetera. How do you protect these creators of these works of creativity? Before the change in laws, you know, you actually had to show that there was copying that you know, went into place, and that there was this intent to copy, and that whoever it was that you were infringing, that somehow they were harmed. So that it became a very kind of labored process of, you know, a very factually intensive, you know, process of determining what was the person who copied, what was their intent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, was the creator harmed, or did he create this custom piece of jewelry to stick in his drawer and give to his mom and never be used again? Our change in the laws about 10 years ago said, nope, we've got to protect in this era of uploading, downloading, sharing files, et cetera. We've got to protect the creator. So under our laws now, basically, if the work of creativity has been registered at the Library of Congress, so you've got that federal copyright, if the owner of that copyright feels somebody is copying, all they have to do is show that they're his copying. Okay, so they don't have to prove intent of the copier. They don't have to prove that they were harmed. They don't have to prove that malice, that element of malice. They just have to say it's been copied. And our federal laws now provide for statutory damages. So they say, okay, Domenica, you created this custom piece of jewelry under our statutory laws. Since your artistic ability is nil, probably we're only going to fine them $100. Now, on the other hand, if I was working for Tiffany's or something, and my work of, you know, my custom jewelry was going to Queen Elizabeth, I'd probably be able to, you know, extract a fine of millions, who knows. But to give you an example of how this law works, which it's really got quite a bite. And if anybody ever has contemplated downloading something from the internet, which they shouldn't, I'll give you a quick example. About a year ago, my niece and her newly married husband, had been married not too long. It was a Saturday night. They said they were quote unquote bored. It was January, you know, whatever. I hate that word, but anyhow, she downloaded 10 movies from her on her laptop, even though they had the disclaimer that says don't download, et cetera, you know, protected under copyright laws. And she, about 6 months ago, got a letter through Comcast, and Comcast said, we have been notified that movie X was illegally downloaded through your Comcast account. So we need to turn over your account information. And by the way, you're being fined $10,000. So this is for one of the 10 films, and this is a single download. Yes. So as a newly married couple in grad school, they said, oh my gosh, thankfully they haven't heard on the other 9. And this was a B movie. It was some Bruce Willis movie that I had never even, you know, heard of. And she said, we didn't even watch them. So anyway, you know, we got it down to $1,500, but the point is that these copyright laws, when they were changed when they were revised about 10 years ago, really have bite to them. Okay, so warn anybody you know not to download illegally because they'll come after you. But again, copyright, here's somebody in the area. I don't know if anybody knows Ada, Ada McAllister out of Portage. She's awesome, been on Channel 7 News, whoever mentioned that about Channel 7 News. But anyway, we can protect books, apps, you know, whatever it is. This is the notice that you'd want to use, copyright notice, okay, that you'd want to use with your any kind of work of creativity. If you do that, you've now put the world on notice that, again, your mark is protected. Quickly, I've got a minute. There's also an element of trade secrets. People always ask about trade secrets. How do you protect those? You know, Coke probably has made the biggest deal about protecting their recipe by trade secret. You've got to have something, though, that is really, truly not reverse engineerable, because if somebody can take your process or your part and reverse engineer it and figure it out, then you really don't have the ability to protect via trade secret. But if you've got something that can be, that is not reverse engineerable, and you want to protect it versus trade secret, then you've got to do everything you can to protect it and to not let it out to the public. I'm seeing questions. I could go on, as you can see, once my train gets going, it leaves the station, I'm going. So any questions on patents, trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, intellectual property? And I should say too, I talked about the US laws. We file everything here, the patents, the trademarks, copyrights, they can all be filed in the US and used as a jumping off point to protect around the world. We handle patents, trademarks, copyrights around the world. We have, you know, I can't stress enough, we can file it wherever you need it filed. And I'm always amazed by these companies in Northwest Indiana that it's a hidden gem, you know, it doesn't look like much from the outside, and then you find out they're, you know, making these products for the military or something. But we have a lot of fun filing wherever we need to file. So questions out there? Or did I leave everyone speechless?
I have a question.
Yes.
As you're going through this, I recall Taco John's restaurants, which are based out of the Midwest. Unfortunately, there isn't one in Valpo. They went after their competitors because they were using a statement that they thought they had the patent on. It's called Taco Tuesdays. Can you patent a statement?
You can't patent, because remember, patents cover the device but what you're referring to, and what I get asked a lot is, can you protect that statement by trademark? Yes, you can. Okay. You know, where's the beef? Taco Tuesday, those types of things. You're going to get protection to that, whatever that phrase is. Okay. In association with whatever those goods and services are. So Taco Tuesday with regard to food products, Taco Tuesday with regard to restaurant services, that type of thing. They would be able to have protection to it. Are they going to be able to get protection to just Taco Tuesday used in any manner whatsoever? No, they're not going to be able to do that. Okay. But they would be able to get protection for the goods and or services that they are using that mark, that phrase, because a trademark can be a single word or it can be a phrase in association with whatever those goods and services are. So if I came along and started saying Tuesday Taco, or for that matter, 2 tacos Tuesday, you know, so whatever, they could definitely go after me. If I'm selling tacos, if I'm selling baby diapers, they have no right. So anything else though? Any other questions?
My name's Jim Berman. I was kind of humored by this. It's not a question, but it's a fun tidbit. My father was involved in the Gordon Gould lawsuit with the laser for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was Gordon Gould's doctoral advisor when he was at Yale and then came to Columbia.
Okay.
And, up through my entire childhood, he was giving dispositions, and ultimately they were settling at $500 million a year for the patent rights for that.
Oh,
for those
yeah.
Allotted state.
Yeah.
I'm sure you studied that in law school if this is your area.
Well, I will say there's two types of patent attorneys. There's those that do what's called patent preparation and prosecution through the US Patent and Trademark Office. That's us. Then there's this other group, the other half of the patent attorneys are the litigation. And that is all consuming. That just,
Yep.
that is what you are doing. And those, as I'm sure you are aware, those lawsuits can last years and years and years. Yeah.
It went on, I believe, for 36 years, and
Yes.
there's now an amiable 96-year-old man here in Valpo.
Yeah.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
yeah. Well, thank you. So, any other questions? Well,
No?
okay.
Well, thank you so very much, Dominica. We appreciate your time, your knowledge. The presentation was amazing. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, thank you. Honestly, anytime. And, good luck to everybody. And may we get through this Zoom land soon, right?
That's true. Yes. And if anybody has any other questions for Dominica after this, I know Greg has just put her, I believe, website or email information on the chat. So feel free to reach out. And for being with us today, we are going to donate a children's book to the Valparaiso Public Library in your name. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. That would be near and dear to my heart. So thank you. So anyway, thank you again. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. And you take care as well.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next week, we will have Bob Franco with us from the VNA of Northwest Indiana. His topic is weathering COVID. Does anyone else have any thoughts or announcements before we close the meeting? If not, please join me in the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, everyone. Take care, stay safe, have a good week. Bye-bye.